Hi everyone, it's Instructor Sam's here, and I have spent all week with your drafts, and I'm really excited about the direction that your drafts are going. The rhetorical analysis genre is very hard, so please check in and read my feedback. I know your revised draft is due Tuesday, and that might seem really soon, but you do have a good chunk of days between now and then in order to consider my feedback and your peer review feedback, and I really urge you to make the most of that. I just wanted to go over my assignment with you really quickly to give you some last pieces of advice to the whole class. Um, First, I think, well, and actually, what I want to ask you to kind of participate in is I think that the most difficult thing about Project One, and I've written this on almost all of your feedback, is figuring out who you're writing this for and why. It feels like a pretty abstract assignment at first. It feels like something you might be just doing for me or just be doing because you have to do. And as a lot of you noted in your first reflections, when you're writing an assignment just because you have to do it, it can be monotonous and boring. And if it's not engaging to you, it's not going to be engaging to your reader. So I think the most important thing you can do to make sure you're successful on this kind of project is to figure out who would be interested in reading your argument and why. So remember, I started a fake assignment, like if I was going to complete this assignment myself, and I shared a drafting exercise with you early on. And in that assignment, I was looking at a poet's Instagram account because I write poetry. I'm a poet. And writing poetry in 2022 in contemporary America just basically means that you have to market your own work. There is such a little bit of context for you. There is really no budget to sell poetry to the masses, as you might imagine. And actually, this is interesting because a lot of you mentioned that you were interested in poetry. But anyways, so I was looking at a poet's account, a poet that I really love following, and I just kind of went to the page with a curiosity of like, why do I like following her? Why does she seems genuine and authentic to me? And so I started drafting an analysis of her account. And I didn't write this essay, you all, because I spent time reading yours instead. But if I were going to publish this essay, I already have a target publication in mind. I think it would be really cool to publish this in the Believer magazine. So, I mean, I just linked it here. You can go and check it out. This is one magazine that I really love because they do comics and multimodal nonfiction articles a lot. So, nonfiction articles with text and images. Also, they feature poetry. So I know a lot of poets read this magazine. I mean, it's like artistic nerds come to this, right? So I can imagine other poets who are in my similar predicament, maybe not knowing how to use Instagram or social media in a way that benefits their work, that promotes their work, but also that so like yes, sells it or markets it, but also instigates conversations with people in a way that's meaningful to them, thus like reinvigorating the cycle of writing and thinking. And the account that I looked at does that really well. So again, I don't have a thesis exactly to share with you, but knowing who I'm writing for, sorry, you're not really seeing much here because it's asking you to subscribe. I already do. Knowing who I'm writing for would be a really big boon as I'm working on my introduction and figuring out why I'm going to try to convince somebody that they should be reading my rhetorical analysis in the first place. Hey, read this because after reading this, not only will you know about a cool poet to follow, you'll also know more about how to connect with your audience and convince them that they should read your poetry too. Right. So you're giving your audience a reward that you're sort of laying it out for them why they should read your argument in the beginning of your essay. And it also makes it feel more conversational as you're going through the ethos, pathos, logos, kairos, right? Like you don't have to say, Carolina Abid is great at ethos. You might say, she really does convince me that she wants to have a conversation with me about poetry and not sell me her book. She makes me trust her in that way. How does she do that? Right. So I would love for you to share, just in a response to this announcement, so everyone across sections can see, what magazine, what online magazine would you want to share your rhetorical analysis with? So what readers would be reading your analysis? Okay. And I hope that that's going to help drive your revisions in a fun and engaging and like very specific way. Okay, I hope this helps. I want to also point you to my revision checklist, which I made because I care about you and you have a lot of content that I have given you that somebody else has given you. And I just want you to have a place where you can go, where you can have all of the sort of things you need to do before you submit your final project one.